I'm going to say something that's really going to upset some people. I'm going to say something that I want you to listen to carefully before you react. So it feels like on a near weekly basis, there is another trend, another fat loss diet, another fat loss pill, another fat loss something that comes to market. Sadly, this is not one that's actually new at all. Technically, it's actually been around since 2012. It only seems to be making some pretty big moves on the social media machine. In the last few months or so, that's going to be Ozempic, which is essentially a medication that was initially used to help treat diabetes, which is now being kind of utilized in the modeling scene, in the celebrity scene, and probably even the fitness scene as well, to aid weight loss. And we're going to talk about that because ZoeUnlimited recently did a video about it and it caught me by surprise. I find it crazy that we live in a day and age where seeing people of status like models, celebrities, whatever it may be, eating food is such a wild thing for the public to grasp. I think it's probably one of the many problems in the realm of like Hollywood and celebrity status and influencers is that they kind of put themselves on this pedestal of they only eat perfectly, they only eat this, but arguably their idea of perfect is far from perfect. And also it almost shames them or makes them look abnormal for eating normal food. Going out for dinner, having food that has more calories than maybe a typical salad would, having a pizza, even though pizza is wildly overrated. I know you're listening to this and you're either disliking the video right now. You know what? I encourage you to, or you're unsubscribing to the channel. Please don't do that because I said pizza is overrated. I'm sorry. I was force-fed pizza as a child by a childminder when I was like 5 years old and I never got over it, and I think that's where the trauma stems from. Now you know the truth. That's actually not entirely false. I actually then sat there just like eating the bread off the bottom of the pizza base when I was like 4 or 5 or something, and I never got over it. So that's the issue. Eating normal food is not crazy. Eating normal food should not be wild. Eating normal food should in fact actually be normalized.
Life is not fair, or is it? Why can some people seem to have a superhuman metabolism while you gain weight by eating kale?
I'm going to say something that's really going to upset some people. I'm going to say something that I want you to listen to carefully before you react. A lot of people, when they say they eat loads and don't gain weight, probably aren't being entirely honest about what they're eating. And a lot of people who say they barely eat anything but gain weight also might not be honest about what they're eating. For many people, this is not a healthy thing to do. For many people, this could actually, in fact, be triggering. But if you would actually calorie count using a trusted and accurate means of doing so, to be honest, in this day and age, the best thing you've probably got are things like Chronometer and MyFitnessPal, and actually see how much you're eating calorie-wise, tracking literally everything that goes in your body, even if it's bloody diet drinks, and also seeing how much you're actually moving. I think a lot of you will be surprised where your caloric intake versus expenditure actually lies. Especially if you are seemingly finding it quite hard to lose weight, you might be surprised how many calories are actually getting consumed, or actually maybe how few calories might be getting burned. Trust me, as somebody who's worked as a trainer for over 10 years now, again, this may not apply to you, but this does apply to a lot of the people I've seen. People don't have a very accurate gauge of how much they're actually eating, and sometimes people actually lie about it. And that's the hard thing, is sometimes people feel shame about quote-unquote overeating, they feel guilty, whatever it may be, and that can actually often result in them lying about what they've eaten, which inherently is a problem in itself because you should not feel shame or guilt about eating. It is food. One bad day is not the end of the world. Just take on the chin and say, you know, I needed this today. I'll do better tomorrow. Done. You don't need to go through this cycle of guilt, punishment and shame just because you've done something that might not be perfectly optimal for your goals. I do stuff like that all the time. I am human, I am normal, and I'm never going to be perfectly consistent 24/7 because that's just not realistic for me. There are more important things in life sometimes. It's just something I've seen a lot in the 10 plus years in which I've been working in the industry.
A pill that makes you forget to eat. A pill that makes starving feel full. Quote, you actually forget to eat.
There are very few things in the world that will really actually drastically change your metabolism. And most things like this, like these medications that seemingly change your metabolism to make you lose loads of weight, they don't actually do so. They essentially regulate hunger levels. You look at like insulin resistance, sensitivity, things along those lines, and also digestion, which then in turn makes you feel like you're forgetting to eat because you're just not hungry. They're not fixing your metabolism. It's simply just sending signals to say that you're not hungry. That's all it is. It's just altering hunger levels to mean that you aren't going to eat which means you're going to be in a calorie deficit because you're not eating as much. And it is really that simple. Metabolism is not something that's going to change wildly. Hunger levels probably will. It's the same when you get like, sometimes you get thyroid medication that say, oh, I gained loads of weight on my thyroid medication because it's slowed down my metabolism. No, it didn't. It probably actually made you a bit hungrier, which meant you ate a bit more, which again, that's a hard thing for a lot of people to process. Trust me, I was on thyroid medication for multiple years, where you actually identified in myself as I wasn't gaining weight because the medication was changing my metabolism. I was gaining weight because I was eating more because it was making me feel hungrier. There's a link down below to apply to work with myself, Ryder or Beth on a one-to-one basis where we can help coach you towards your goals, whatever they may be. You can also look at the TFNL workout guides, which are also linked down below, which are very lengthy and easily digestible fitness resources that can teach you all the bits and bobs you need to know about achieving your goals, whilst also giving you workout programs to follow at home or at the gym. And you've also got the Train Heroic group coaching application where you can pay less than your Netflix subscription to follow a program written by me alongside other members of the community, and we can all talk together in the community message board, and maybe even, I believe, send some videos in there if you want some form analysis. And you also have input on how the following programs are going to be altered depending on what your goals may be. If any of those tickle your pickle, have a gander down below in the description or maybe even the comment section and see what's occurring.
And the drug needs to be continued to maintain benefits. Great, so not only do you need to accustom yourself to some severe nausea and vomiting, you also need to continue taking it. Translation: if you stop taking Ozempic, the weight that you lost will likely return.
Again, this goes back to the hunger thing. Realistically, your metabolism hasn't changed. You've gone from essentially telling yourself you're not hungry to being hungry again, and then eating, probably then put yourself into a calorie surplus, which means you're then going to be gaining weight. So again, when you have to maintain use of a drug to prolong benefits like weight loss, you know it's not going to be sustainable. And that's the big thing, is when we're looking for these things, we look for things that are sustainable, things you can remain most consistent with. What it really comes down to, if you want a really, really effective means of losing weight and keeping that weight off, a lifestyle change. And no one wants to hear it because it really can be that simple, a lifestyle change, which can be easier said than done if you've got a busy life, got a lot of family things to worry about. Sometimes it can be hard to make a lifestyle change, but it's still possible. And what that essentially comes down to is maybe eating a bit less, maybe moving a bit more, going for a few more walks, walking a bit longer, and maybe just going to the gym or working out at home a couple of times a week. These small things can make a massive difference, because not only are you getting the habit and the routine of maybe eating in a calorie deficit, if that aligns with your goals and you can do so in a healthy, safe and sustainable manner, you're also getting the routine of walking a bit more, getting out a bit more, being a bit more active, working out, building a bit more muscle, which also is in turn going to help increase your basal metabolic rate. Which means you can do all these things that essentially set you up for success. Again, they take time, they require consistency, and they require an actual change, but they are manageable, and I guarantee they're a lot safer, maybe albeit a bit slower, than things like Ozempic. Largely driven by the fashion industry, I believe, then also goes into celebrities and now even potentially influencers, is that there will always be a quick fix of something. Human nature is what we like to do. We like finding the quickest way to do something. We like a quick fix, we like a shortcut, whatever it may be. I'm guilty of it too because I'm human. It is part of human nature. Seemingly, we like quick fixes, but sometimes quick fixes aren't the best thing. Sometimes there may be quick fixes, but these quick fixes are actually often temporary. Do you want a quick fix that will last a few weeks, maybe a few months, or do you want a slow, consistent, sustainable, and probably even more enjoyable fix that could last a lifetime? It's all well and good saying you want to lose weight for a holiday, you want to do this, but you don't need to take things like Ozempic to achieve that. What you kind of really need to do is make a change. Move more, eat less, go to the gym or work out at home. You're laughing. Do not feel pressure by the fitness industry. Do not feel pressure by celebrities. Do not feel pressure by the fashion industry to go down whatever route they're promoting, because health is probably not their number one priority. And sure, you may achieve amazing results taking things like Ozempic, but what damage is that doing to you? Are you going to regain the weight that you've lost? How's that going to impact your mental health? How's it going to impact your relationship with food? Are you going to suffer some pretty nasty side effects, which is a possibility? How's that going to impact you? And what are the long-term drawbacks of taking things like this? We don't know. There's still more research to be done. It's better to be safe than sorry, and it's also better to find something that's a bit more sustainable than something you might regret down the line. Again, just my thoughts and opinions. All I'm trying to say is you do not need to change how you look for other people. You do not need to change how you look for an industry that you probably don't even care that much about. Fashion, fitness, even celebrities. Focus on what's best for you. Focus on trying to figure out what would make you happiest, and focus on doing so, hopefully, in a healthy and sustainable manner. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle about things that are probably plaguing the industry, and I'm sure there'll be more of them in the future. And thank you for tolerating the video.